I bought a car. I bought a car in the middle of a global pandemic. I bought a car in the middle of a global pandemic and I don't have a job. I bought a car because I can't ride trains anymore. When I first moved to Chicago, one of my favorite things to do was ride the Brown Line downtown and back, sometimes multiple times in a row. It was one of my favorite places to sit and think. Peaceful is probably not the word that comes to mind when most people think about the CTA, but yeah, I found a lot of peace on that train. For the first half of the ride, all you could really see were apartments and cemeteries, but the second half, the train would round a curve and the downtown skyline would pop into view. It was one of my favorite parts. Suddenly this wave of possibility and purpose would come over me, and I was suddenly aware of all of the things I could do and all of the things I could be. I liked the Brown Line because it kept me above ground. Tight spaces have always made me feel claustrophobic, and I spent 29 years of my life in the tight spaces that was my body. Eventually, I changed my pronouns, changed my name. I started taking testosterone, and I was lucky enough to have top surgery. After surgery, when I saw myself in the mirror, I spent most of my life avoiding mirrors, washing my hands in the dark. There I was, 30 years old, finally recognizing the person looking back at me, and all of those things, they saved my life. Shortly after surgery, I was walking home from the grocery store and I was crossing the street and a car came out of nowhere. I somehow managed to jump out of the way in time, but they barely missed me and then sped off, and I thought to myself, holy shit, that car almost killed me and I don't want to die. Oh my God. I don't want to die. And it was in that moment that I realized I had spent my entire life not caring if I lived or died. And all of those things that saved my life, all of those things that made me want to live, they also made me a target. I can't ride trains anymore. I can't ride trains anymore because of the man who reached between my legs and grabbed me as hard as he could while demanding to know what was in my pants. Everyone on the train saw, and they all heard it. I can't ride trains anymore because of the man on the platform who locked eyes with me, charged at me, and then spat in my face with everything he had in him. The hate in that man's eyes. Yeah, I won't ever forget that. Everyone on the platform watched. I can't ride trains anymore because of all of the people who avoided my eyes after both of those attacks. I'm white and masculine, and sometimes I think that's the reason I'm still alive. A few years ago, Laverne Cox was invited to speak at my university. It was during the height of Orange is the New Black. One of my friends, a white cis man from the Midwest helped set up the event. He told me that she was a major diva. And when I asked him why, he said that it was because she had one rule, and it was that no one could touch her. They could take pictures, they could ask questions, they could ask her to sign things, but no one could touch her. And I wonder if he knew how many Black trans women don't make it past 35, because I can guarantee that Laverne knew. I can't ride trains anymore because we're only 8 months into 2020, and already more trans humans have been murdered in the last few months than in all of last year. Most of them were Black, and only 3 of them made it past 35. Do you think on their 36th birthday they breathed a sigh of relief? Maybe they thought they were in the clear, or maybe they knew that in this world they were already living on borrowed time. Can you imagine how exhausting that must feel? To watch people put your Black trans dead siblings on pedestals, turning them into martyrs while simultaneously ignoring your need to feel safe, your need to affordable housing, to adequate medical care, to a stable job. Or forgetting that you're a human being. Forgetting that you also have the right to a simple, boring life. Sometimes I have this daydream that we're all actually angels, trans angels, walking around on Earth. And when all of these holier-than-thou fucks get into heaven, they'll be met by us. By Rhea Milton. By Nina Pop. By Remy Fells. Bree Black. Tony McDade. And all of the other people whose names we'll never know because their bodies were never found, or they were dead named and misgendered in their deaths. All of them looking fabulous as hell. And all of the shitty people who ever hurt us will be there, and they'll be met by us, and we will forgive them. Because we're good fucking angels. But before they get their peace, I want them, just for a moment, to feel our collective pain. The pain of holding your bladder all day because you are afraid to use a public restroom. The fear that forces you to change your clothes 15 times over before you leave the house because it could mean the difference between being attacked and simply being stared at. I want them to know what it feels like to be pulled aside at the airport every single time by TSA and have them decide in front of you if a male or female security guard should pat you down. And I want them to be afraid to simply ride the train, because then maybe they'll understand that this isn't a choice. And that maybe they'll understand that transitioning however you choose to do it is one of the most radical acts of self-love in existence. And I want them to know that we're the ones letting them in. And they have to live with that. So yeah, I bought a car. in the middle of a global pandemic without a job because I can't ride the train anymore.